Okay, both sides have been deployed opposite each other, and now each side rolls priority to see who goes first. Roll priority. The old man and his goons get 17, Shadow and the Rangers get 16. The old man and his goons take the first activation. Battle round 1. Okay, the first activation, the old man is going to try and summon a husk. You cast this spell. To do that, we roll his spellcasting roll, which is D8, and we roll as many D8s equal to his mind stat. So that for him that's 2d8. And then we have to roll equal to or higher than the casting target for the spell, which for Summon Husk level 1 is 10. So you roll 2d6 and we get a 3 and a 6. So that equals 9. He failed that. So the old man, here's the crack of the firearm goes off. He carries on chanting. He points the serpentine dagger at a nearby charred corpse. A strange shift happens on his face before he focuses back on the book in front of him. Now activation 2, Shadow's Rangers. Shadow's Rangers, they move up. They have a 6-inch move. I think they're just going to take cover, so if they get shot, they have extra defense. With Sungrim, the minions, if they're in a squad, like the Rangers are, can end their movement more than 2 inches away out of coherency. But if they take another move action, then each individual model has to take a willpower check to see if they're not forced back into coherency. And when a unit takes an action, all models in that unit have to take the same action. Right, next activation is we're going to go with the guard minions. They're going to split up a little bit, just like the Rangers. And they're going to take cover. Both sides want to get members in the circle, obviously, so they can get victory points. The next activation will be Shadow himself. He moves jumping over the pushed over bench and starts to climb the corpse pile towards Gideon. He has a 6-inch move, just the same as everyone else. Then we'll do another activation with the old man. He's going to try and cast that spell again. His spellcasting roll is 2d8, and he has to beat a 10. He rolls a 2 and a 4, which is a 6, and he fails again. Okay. The next activation, Shadow's going to take his second action for the turn, and he's going to fire one of his semi-auto pistols at the bottom guard. He is two right, so now we're going to do an attack action, the first attack action. To do an attack action, you roll a d20 and you add the miniature's prowess. And each side does this, the attacker and the defender. Whoever gets the highest roll wins the combat roll. So for Shadow, he rolls a 2 on his d20. He adds his prowess, which is 3. But because he has the gunslinger level 2 trait, he also gets to add his mind stat to shooting attacks. So he gets another +2 for that. And then because he's within 6 inches of Gideon, he also gets a +1 prowess for the mission. So he gets a total of 8. The guard, which rolls a 4, has a +4 prowess for a total of 8. So that means they're equal. And in Sungrim, if both models are equal in an attack roll-off, both miniatures count as failing the combat. So unfortunately Shadow misses that. The next activation goes back to the guards, and the guards are going to shoot at the bottom, The guard at the bottom is going to shoot back at Shadow. He rolls a 5 on his action. He has +4 prowess for a total of 9. Shadow rolls a 19. He has +3 prowess, +2 from the trait, and plus additional 1 for being in the circle for a total of 25. So he wins the combat roll-off. But normally, with shooting attacks, if you were the defender of the action and you win the roll-off, nothing happens. But because you have a ranged weapon, but luckily for Shadow, he took the dual wielder level 2 trait, which means that he counts all ranged weapons as melee weapons, so actually does get to fire back in this situation. So Shadow wins with his weapon, and his weapon does d4 damage, plus his prowess of 3, plus an extra 1d4 fire damage from the enchantment on his weapon. Unfortunately, he rolled a 1 on both of his d4s, so it does a total of 5 damage. The defender has 3 defense and is behind cover, and so gets an additional +2, which completely deflects all of the damage. Okay, for the second guard, the one in the middle, he's going to shoot his full auto rifle at the second one from the top, second ranger from the top. He rolls an 18, +4 for his prowess, +1 for being in the circle. He rolls a 22, and then the ranger rolls a 1, and he has +2 prowess, so he rolls a 3, so the guard hits him. The guard's weapon, the full auto rifle, does 1d6 +4 damage. So he rolls a 6, and so +4 prowess, so that's 10 damage. The ranger has 2 defense, and he gets another +2 for being in cover. So there's a total of 6 damage that goes through. Then the top ranger, the top guard, he goes next. He's going to shoot the other ranger that's in the circle with Shadow. He rolls a 7, +4 equals 11, versus the ranger that rolls a 4, +2 equals 6, so that's a hit. He rolls a 1d6, +4, so he rolls a 3, that's 7 damage. The ranger gets +2 defense and +2 cover because he's in the circle, so and does 3 damage to that ranger. Now with units in Sungrim, when they take an activation, the whole unit must take an activation at the same time. That's why all 3 guards shot. But also, when a unit takes damage, the controller picks one of the models that takes the damage, and then that model takes all of the damage until they die. So although the ranger in the circle has been shot and has taken damage, the one outside that's already taken damage previously will take all of the damage. So now we're on to the second battle round. At the beginning of the battle round, they get each party gets 50 victory points for each model within 6 inches of Gideon. So the guards and the old man get 50 points, and the rangers get 100. Now to roll off priority, the guards get 8 and the rangers get 13, so the rangers get first activation. So with their first activation, the ranger squad of minions are going to fire their bolt action rifles. So they're each going to do an attack action. So the one at the very bottom, we'll go from bottom to top. The ranger rolls a 17 plus 2 equals 19. Versus the guard that rolls a 4, has 4 prowess, and that's an 8. So the bolt action rifles deal d8 damage, plus 2 prowess, plus 1d4 extra fire damage. So that's a total of 8 damage and plus 3 fire damage for this guy. The guards have 3 defense, and they get an extra plus 2 for cover. So that's a total of 3 damage and 3 fire damage for the one at the bottom. And now, because he's damaged, he's going to start taking damage first for the whole unit. So then the next one up is he's going to shoot the same guard. He rolls a 7 plus 2 is 9 versus the guard that rolls an 8 plus 4, which is 12, so he misses. Then the next guard, which is the one in the circle, he rolls a 14 plus 2 for prowess plus 1 because he's in a circle for 17. And the guard rolls 15 plus 4, which equals 19, which is a miss. Then the ranger at the top behind the bench, he's going to shoot the old man. He rolls a natural 20, so he breaks the old man's mask. Plus 2 equals 22, versus the old man rolls a 2, plus 3 prowess equals 5. Now, the rifle itself does d8 plus 2 damage, plus 1d4 fire damage. So that's 6 normal damage, plus 4 fire damage. The old man has 2 defense and 2 for cover, so he takes a total of 6 damage himself, and his mask is broken, so he'll start taking damage at the beginning of the next battle round. And then finally the ranger at the top versus the guard at the top. The ranger rolls a 12 plus 2, which is 14, and the guard rolls a 13 plus 4, which is 17, so he misses. So that's that unit's only action for the entire turn gone. So we'll move on to the old man. His mask is broken, so I think what he's going to do, he's going to take an action to move to the damaged guard that's been shot already. He's going to move down behind him. Okay, then the third action is going to be Shadow. He's going to do a move action up, getting closer to Gideon, and then within the circle, we'll say it's rough ground, so you can only move. He moves half of his range, so he'll only move 3 inches instead of 6. Then he's going to use his quick to fire trait, which means he can use an attack action after he moves. It still takes a action point, so now he doesn't have any for this turn. But with the dual wielder level 2 trait, he gets to make 2 attack actions per attack action, but they have to be at different targets. So he's going to shoot the guard and the old man at the bottom. So Shadow versus the guard. Shadow rolls a 14. He gets plus 3 for prowess, plus 2 for the gunslinger trait, and then plus 1 because he's in a circle for 20. Versus 18, the guard rolls an 18, plus 4, which is 22, which is a miss. Then Shadow versus the old man. Shadow rolls 17, plus 3, plus 2, plus 1, versus the old man who rolls a 3, plus 3, which is 6. So Shadow's semi-auto pistols deal 1d4 plus 3 damage, plus another 1d4 fire damage. So in total he deals 4 damage and 4 fire damage. but the defense and the cover bring it down to just the fire damage. Okay, and then the next activation, the old man's going to go again, and he's going to use an interact action to take the mask from that guard. So now that guard doesn't have a mask and will start taking damage at the beginning of the next activation. Okay, now that now that Shadow and his rangers are out of action points, the guards are just going to finish using all of theirs. So it's just the guard squad that has their actions left, but they have 2 actions each. So again, we'll go from bottom to top. Each guard has a full auto rifle, and this time they're going to, because they have both of their actions, are going to use the full auto special rule on their guns, which means that they use both of their actions to shoot, but they get 2 d20s instead of 1 when rolling the combat roll off. So the first guard at the bottom is going to shoot Shadow. For his first dice, he rolls 18 plus 4, 22, and then his second dice, he gets a 6 plus 4 for 10. Shadow rolls 14 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 for 20. So Shadow gets hit there. And because of the full auto, even if one of those 2 dice the guard has hits, he gets the full damage from the 2 actions. So now the gun does 2d6 plus 4 damage. So that for a total of 13. Now, Shadow has 2 defense, but he also has a breastplate, so he has 2 armor. And he has cover as well, so he is -6 to that 13, which is 7. Then the guard in the middle is going to shoot the ranger that's already damaged at the top. He's going to full auto as well, so he gets an 18 on his first dice plus everything, and then a 15 plus everything for a 20. The ranger rolls a 14 plus 2, so 16, and that hits the ranger. And the ranger's going to take 2d6 plus 4 damage, so he takes 8. There's -2 defense and -2 cover, but that's just enough to kill him. So we remove that model as a casualty. Then the last guard at the top, he fires his full auto. He, for his first dice, gets a 15, and for his second dice gets an 18. The ranger gets a 12 of all of his bonuses, so that hits him, so he takes 2d6 plus 4 damage for a total of 9. Then that ranger has -2 defense, -2 cover for 5 damage, so he takes 5 damage. Then, because all of the models in that ranger squad have the same HP, we as the controller get to choose which of those models take the damage. And obviously we want to keep that guy that's in the circle, so we don't want to get rid of him. So we'll take damage on the very top ranger, the one that's furthest away from the rest of his squad mates. And that's the end of the battle round.